Welcome, all of you sensitive, intuitive souls. This is Bevan Neiman Cortez, one of your co-hosts for this event. I'm so delighted to introduce you today to Michael R. Smith. For over 2 decades, he has worked to help empaths and highly sensitive people embrace your gifts. And as a trained counselor, a spirit medium, and an energy healing practitioner, Michael's work has reached millions worldwide. Michael's greatest joy is to facilitate deep connections with spirit, and he currently offers this through his Empath Sanctuary online community. Welcome, Michael, to the summit. So happy to be here with you today.
Oh, it's a joy, always a joy to do this. I think this is our third time around. So it's so great to be back here, and I'm excited to connect with a whole new audience this time and to really help you let go of some of the blocks that you might have to fully embodying your authentic self. And we're going to talk about what that means and all of the amazing things that come from that when we are embodying our true selves.
I'm so excited for this conversation. So let's talk about, maybe we start where we're not necessarily embodying all of our authenticity, being truthful and being open and liberated and free. Why do you believe that empaths in particular can become such people pleasers? Like, where does that stem from?
Well, we're designed to say yes by the universe. I mean, we raised our hand and said, and you know this, right? I mean, we came to Earth at a really crazy time on the planet. So we volunteered and we said, I'm going to go to Earth to help and to bring the light to the Earth. And because we are designed by the universe to say yes, sometimes we can just get out of balance with that. And that's what people pleasing is. We say yes when we really want to say no. And then we wind up getting drained, exhausted, fatigued, and overwhelmed because of our lack of ability or really training to be able to say no and to say it out of love for ourselves and the other person. So, we're different as well. And this is really important, that we are designed by the universe to be different, unique, and incredibly valuable because of that. And we sometimes as empaths get lost in that story. Oh, I'm so different. I feel like an alien on Earth. No one will ever get me. And because of that dynamic, we want people to love us, especially early on in our life and early on before we've had a conscious awakening and come to embrace the truth that we are different. We sometimes place the power, we give our own power away to the external, and we basically vibrationally, energetically, and sometimes even subconsciously say to others, will you love me? Will you bring me the love that I'm not yet able to tap into myself? And when we do that, oh my gosh, we get physical problems, we get energy drains, we get in bad relationships. I'm sure that those of you that are watching and listening right now can relate to this dynamic, because I don't know any empaths that haven't dealt with this dynamic, myself included. My first relationship was a disaster, and with the other N word, narcissist, right? Because I needed him to provide that stability, what I thought was stability, security, and validation. So we're learning to take, to channel. I was going to say take our power back, and then I was like, no, that's cliche. We're learning to channel our true, authentic, original self. And our true, authentic self is not what some of us may think it is. It's not the horizontal, meaning it's not what you think who you think you are as a personality. Has nothing to do with your definition of self, has nothing to do with your opinion of who you are in relationship to others. What does it have to do with? Here's the kicker. It's the vertical. Your authentic self, draw an equal sign to your divine, higher self. When we go deeply in touch with our divinity and our true, authentic, divine self, and we're going to have a chance to do that in just a moment, so hang tight. Then we get all of the energy, Shakti, life force. We never get drained, ever. I can't remember the last time I was drained by other people. It just doesn't happen anymore because I've unleashed my divine self, and you will as well. Those of you that are watching, if you're not at that point yet where you feel free to unleash your divine self, by the end of this talk, we're going to have done some things and weaved a little energy magic where you're going to feel more free to unleash the divine being that you are.
I so look forward to doing this exercise with you. And before we jump into that, we're talking, I hear you talking about freedom, liberation, really shining out who we are. What can get in the way of us being able to express and tell the truth about our emotions, our perceptions, our experiences? What holds us back from that?
The J word, judgment, fear of judgment, right? Because we've been judged because we are different, and sometimes radically different than those around us, our loved ones, those who we grew up with. I know, like, was born into a family where it's one of my divine purposes to sort of break the mold. And I think this is quite common for all empaths, that we're designed to come into a system that may be a little bit traditional or dysfunctional, maybe even, and we came here to break the mold. So the fear of judgment. So feel into this question for you, those that are watching and tracking our conversation here today and involved in our conversation energetically. Want to welcome you, even though you're watching on a recording. You're present with us here today, and I and Bevan invite you in. So feel into the question: how would my life be different if I was able to release my fear of what other people may think of me? And just feel that. And this is the prelude to our meditation. Hopefully you'll be feeling into that feeling of liberation and freedom. And when you do, you have all the energy that you need, and you don't have to worry about putting up a bubble, putting yourself in a bubble or a sheet. This is ridiculous. Like, it's temporarily effective. Some people in our field, in the empath world, teach those meditations, and they can be temporarily helpful. It is my opinion. However, where some of us go wrong is we believe we have to put ourselves in a bubble and shield ourselves because all the big scary world is out to get us. No, when you unleash your true, authentic, divine self, you have all the protection that you need. And really, when it comes down to it, energy protection is all about learning to say no in order to say yes to us and yourself, so that you're not drained and exhausted. That's true energy protection.
And as you started talking about this and made that invitation to everyone who's listening, I could just feel this wave come through. And I would just love, no is just such a short little word, right? I mean, why is it such a struggle to pull it out of the throat chakra and into the world and say this and mean it?
Yeah. Okay. Speaking the truth. How do we okay, this is the question. How do we, when we have had a history of people pleasing, giving our power away because we want to be loved, how do we use our voice to share the truth of who we are? That's the question that you are asking your divine self. So just take a moment of silence to ask right now, how do I share my authentic self? And now here's a little warm-up exercise for you, okay? Those of you that are martial artists or have done any type of martial arts know that when a martial artist is weaving his or her energy, right? I'm just kind of using this as an example here. There is a spot in the body, right here. Okay, it's called the hara, Hara, and it's the center of our personal power. It's related to the third chakra, but it's not the same. This point, I'm gonna ask you and invite you in to harness your own center of authenticity and truth and power, and then express that. How are we going to do that? Here's how. I'm going to make a sound, and I want you to just feel into the intention, the energy that you feel as I make the sound, and that's behind the sound. And then I'm going to ask you to do a version of the same. Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do, some version of this. If you can really go for it, like I'm going to go for it now. Okay, here we go. Ha! What did you feel in that, Bevan?
It was a little startling, but it felt really powerful. Yeah, it felt really powerful, though. It was like, I'm just serious about this. This is me holding my presence.
Yes. Okay, so the startling got your attention, and I do that purposely to get your attention to feel the amount of power that when we are embodying our true divinity and expressing it from here up the spine and out the mouth, other people can feel your power, they can feel your passion, and they can feel your presence, and they can even feel your purpose. That's a lot of P's. And that's important. So I'd invite you, if you want to do it now, fabulous. I mean, I would invite you to step outside your comfort zone. I know when I work with people in private session, I invite them to do some version of that exercise, and it's very challenging for most empaths to use the voice in such a manner. We're not used to being fully expressive. We hold back because we believe that it's our business to worry or even be concerned about what other people think of us. So that is a prerequisite. It's like a warm-up act. If you practice that exercise every day, multiple times a day, like I'm just going to admit it. I'm a little cuckoo crazy. All right. So, and I say that with affection for myself, out of love for myself, because I know that that's the fun, playful, joyful side of me, directly related to the huh, right? I kind of toned it down there. Directly related to that exercise. If you practice that exercise every day, multiple times a day, even 20 times a day, like I do, it's going to change your life. Because with that, the intention behind it is clear everyone else's energy that is not mine, and bring in my divinity, power, presence, and authentic self. That was the intention as I was making that noise. And I invite you to do some version of the same, and it's going to change your life.
I love it. I love it. Are you inviting me to do that?
Let's do it. You want to do it?
I would love to. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So I need to access this lower area.
Pretend there's a mouth here. Okay. This is the area that you're speaking from and making the sound from. That area. Go down there, feel it energetically. And then put the intention to clear everyone else's energy and bring yourself into your own state of divinity as you make that sound.
Ha!
How'd that feel?
Really powerful. Yeah, I could just sort of feel this energy rising and just coming right out, holding my space.
There you go. And you just gave voice to your own power and gave us a perfect example. And guess here's the other thing. This is the formula for attraction. All right. This is kind of cool. Little do we know that every time we make that type of sound, whether it's the hara ha sound, or whether it's singing, or whether it's speaking your truth, every time you channel from the vertical, from your divine self, your higher self, or some people call it your soul, it's the same thing. When you go to that place and everyone just blow out your ego right now. We're going to do a meditation right now, okay? Blow out your ego, exhale your ego, and let's go into the meditative state with the assumption that every time we connect to our divinity and every time we express our divine self, we make more money, we have better relationships, we have better health, and we have abundance in all forms. Authentic self equals abundance. So let's take it even deeper. Exhale that ego. Sink down, down, down as you invite in your higher self and say, thank you, higher self. I'm here to learn from you. We are here to receive your guidance. I'm open. And I thank you in advance for answering the following questions for me. Show me, higher self, when I am radiating my divine, authentic self, how do I look to myself? As I look into my eyes, when I am in my purest, authentic expression, how do my eyes appear to my own self as I look at myself with the eyes of the divine? How does my face appear to myself? Look at your mouth and ask yourself the question, how are other people reacting to me as I am glowing, as I am radiating my pure source presence? I thank you, higher self, for showing me and showing us the power that I am. And when I invoke my higher self, there is total clarity. So I thank you, higher self, for offering me clarity right now. And I ask you to show me, is there anything I have been holding back, repressing, suppressing, that you, divine, are asking me to share more freely, openly, with love for myself and others, to others? And as I feel, and as we as a field feel into the possibility of what it feels like to be free and liberated and expressive, as I feel into this possibility, how does that change my energy in this moment in my physical body? I invite you to scan your body from head to toe and ask your body, where is my divine joy and my divine authenticity located? This is important because we carry as empaths debris in our field. And when we connect like this, I'm feeling it in my heart big time. When I ask that question, where are you feeling it? And when you're ready, say thank you to your divine self for showing up to you today in this little mini meditation that hopefully will be a warm-up act for future communication and inquiry. What are you feeling and noticing, Bevan?
So powerful. Thank you so much, Michael. I was just enjoying and holding this space for this beautiful meditation and then experiencing it. And when I asked where my joy was, it was in my root. It was in my root. So that was really great.
Beautiful.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. And I think that's very common for a lot of us as empaths, is where we tend to get out of that, when we tend to get out of balance, including when we are repressing and holding in too much. It automatically puts our first root chakra out of balance. So when we channel our divinity, we are channeling our divinity through the earth, through the root chakra, not through the crown. If all an empath ever did at any stage of development, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and I use those labels, you guys understand what I mean, not with any, no one's better than anyone else. It's just some of us are at early stages, some of us have been doing this quite a while. One thing is in common: the degree to which you focus, and we focus on our root chakra, getting out in nature, physically tensing the muscles. You can try this right now if you're following along. Tense your perineum, your muscles to start and stop urination, and then pump the energy up the spine. Something as simple as that, it will open up your root chakra. And therefore, what does that allow you to do? What does that allow us to do? It allows us to embody our divinity. So that's how we access our divinity, is through the root. So thank you, Bevan, for bringing up a spiritual truth for all of us empaths. It's not about leaving the body. It's not about the crown chakra, because when we do our part, the divine just wants us to focus on our root. When we focus on our root, and to a lesser extent, chakras 2 and 3, when we focus on those and get those in balance, there's a gazillion ways to do it. Then guess what happens? The divine does its part and takes care of opening up the soul chakra up here, opening up the crown chakra, one chakra below, and then opening up the third eye. So we don't have to worry about that at all.
Mm. I love that you're talking about this difference, because it seems to me as an empath that we're really good at connecting with all that is and the oneness, but where maybe we need more work is being really grounded here in our physical reality. A lot of empaths don't want to be here, right? So this is a part of that journey of healing and saying, I belong here on this planet. I'm here to make a contribution.
Okay, what you said is really important. Everyone, please repeat this out loud or in your head if there are people around you. I belong on this planet. I am here to make a contribution. When I ask my divine self for help, I am given energy, abundance, money, health, so that I can make a more important contribution. That is an important, very important affirmation that you just brought us into. So thank you.
I love it. So you and I are just dancing in this intuitive,
as always,
empathic dance.
We know how
to
do this.
Well, and what strikes me is that, what you're bringing forward here allows someone who has been maybe struggling with self-doubt or feeling inhibited or a feeling of low confidence to really begin building that kind of presence out in the world.
Yes, presence. You cannot be unclear when you are channeling your divine self and your divine presence. It's an important word, what you just said. You cannot be not confident. The definition of your divine authentic self includes total clarity and total confidence. So if you have been lacking, like a lot of empaths, lacking clarity on anything, like think of a question that you're unclear about, right? That if you are unclear about anything, it is a sign that you are being invited and asked to go vertical and ask for guidance, and then trust that the guidance will show up, not necessarily in the meditation when you ask. Sometimes it does come. Sometimes we have those aha moments and we're gifted, depending on what spirit says. Okay, we're going to give him or her a little gift, right? Sometimes that does happen. More often than not, though, the answers come being programmed into our superconscious mind, which is outside of our awareness most of the time. And it takes time for it to land from the superconscious into our conscious mind. And then also more commonly, even than that, is the answers show up in our daily life through lived experience. And sometimes we don't even know, and the ego sometimes has a hard time recognizing an answer when it lands right on our doorstep. So yeah, it's important in order to receive clarity and confidence. It's very simple. Just spend more time. And that requires what? What does that require, everybody? Commitments. It requires commitment of small acts. Here's the thing about being an empath and meditation. Complex relationships to meditation, a lot of us, because we get overwhelmed at the thought of committing to meditation. Oh my God, I got to do 30 minutes of meditation. I got to Om. And no, meditation happens in these small moments. So I can't remember the last time I've done 30 minutes of, well, I do it for a living. So I do an hour of meditation before my clients, but when I'm not working with clients, I can't remember the last time I've committed to 30 minutes of meditation. I don't need to at this point, and neither do you. You, like all of us, are just being asked to take 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, just like we've been doing. I mean, we've been connecting this entire call with your divine self. And that's part of the joy of being an empath, is that you just need to commit to small little 30-second moments, 1 minute moments, 2 minutes. And there you go. Suddenly you have the aha moment when it moves from the super conscious down to the conscious, and you've got your clarity and you've got your confidence to embody the truth of who you are.
I love that you're talking about this, because there was a whole year when I first had my empath awakening that I committed to, meditating every single day. And I'm glad that I did that. It was torturous though.
Yeah,
and now, being able to just do what you're saying, which is, okay, I need to just refocus. I need to refocus my energy centers. I need to get connected. You can literally do that in just a few seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And when we do that, when you commit to doing a few seconds of meditation like we've been doing, and really, if you have a problem like a lot of empaths do with motivation and inertia and procrastination, I want you to commit and sign a pledge. Like right now, just go to your journal or your daily planner. I will commit to 2 minutes of meditation 4 times today. Commit to it, write it down, make it real. It's an action. Every action that you take generates energy. Sign your name and pledge to yourself that you're going to do it. When you do that, you're going to have so many amazing things happen to you. Things are just going to magically start to fall into place. Those confusing things that have got you have that ping pong match inside your head, it's going to drop away. You're going to get clarity, confidence. You're going to magnetically attract. That's the basis of manifesting. And co-creating with your divine self. And, you're also going to start to feel a lot more safe in the world. And this is a big deal for empaths, is that when you channel and meditate in that way, just 30 seconds of meditation, what happens to the memories of trauma that are stored inside your body? Magically, that those holds that the past traumas and have held on you throughout your whole life, they disappear. This is how I work with trauma with my clients. And if you have a method of dealing with trauma, fantastic. I would invite you to add this and recognize that every second, every minute, every moment you spend with the divine is erasing trauma from your physical body, from your cells, and from your consciousness, so that yes, the memories will still be there. However, they won't throw you off balance, and you will start to feel safe. In this way, creating safety is an inside job. And safety, feeling safe, is a prerequisite to expressing yourself to another person. So recognize that. And affirm this right now. Affirm this out louder in your mind. I am responsible for creating my own sense of safety. Boom. And how do we create our own sense of safety? Through channeling and going vertical. And channeling, it just means bringing down and embody the energy of your divine self. And that is one very potent way to deal with trauma, I have found in my practice.
Such a strong, powerful affirmation that I am responsible for my own safety. And when I realized that, everything seemed to change. I did want to touch in with something that you mentioned, Michael, which was that empaths can tend to procrastinate. And what do you think is the root of that particular habit or fear even?
It's based on the horizontal. So the horizontal is we are divine beings and we are earthly beings, and we are recognizing that more and more and more now as empaths, that like we have multiple personalities. And that is a fantastic thing that we are embracing. Like, oh my gosh, I get to be human and divine at the same time. So, if like a lot of empaths, you're finding yourself with inertia and lack of momentum and procrastinating, it means one thing and one thing only. And this is a fact. There's not a lot of facts, but this is a fact. And this is a spiritual truth. Okay. It simply means that you've been spending too much time in your horizontal, in your earthly ego, your egoic mind, and in the earthly realm. So like most empaths don't realize the degree to which we are like addicted to social media, distraction, Netflix. Wine is a huge one. Even to some degree, cannabis. In order to get high and to unwind, a little bit is okay. But we use these things to take us away from our divinity. And then guess what happens? We leak energy, and all of a sudden we have no motivation. And I don't feel like doing that. I'll do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes the next day. And so the answer to everything is to spend more time with the divine and with spirit. That's a label that a lot of empaths prefer, rather than God, because of our religious wounding and trauma. God knows I grew up Catholic and grew up gay. And so I was like, I don't have the first thing to do with, with the word God, right? So I get it. Many of you have had similar experiences. So, the answer to a lot of things is to just spend more time with our true selves. And so that we can, say to someone and be vulnerable about things that are true about us that maybe we have had trouble in the past saying. Like, for instance, in my own life, I'm gay, right? And I had trouble saying that. I couldn't say that word until I was 20 years old. I've got a gigantic nose. And this is, a moment of vulnerability. I'm just telling you, like, okay, look at that honker. It's taken me a long time to accept that and love that fact about me. And because I channel my divinity so much these days, I love my nose, right? And our relationship to your body and our body, you're going to be able to say to someone, and I challenge you, in fact, this would be a great homework assignment to take from this talk. I will challenge you. Those of you who work with me, you know that I am very big myself on stepping outside of my own comfort zone so that I can learn, grow, evolve, and expand. How are you going to do that? I challenge you and ask you. Challenge might not be the right word. I invite you. And this is what the divine is inviting all of us to do, how are you going to take an action? When this talk is over, I invite you to commit to taking one action that demonstrates to yourself, your human self, and to your divine self, to spirit, God, source, and take an action that is going to declare and demonstrate your commitment to stepping outside your comfort zone and sharing the truth of who you are. Maybe you've been putting off talking with someone that maybe you had a dissonant interaction with, and you want to clear that up. Do it. Go for it. How can I go for it? Is the question that we're all asking these days. How can I really unleash the full force of my power? Make that your homework assignment, your not out of any obligation, but something that you choose to do because you want the divine to flood you with the energy that you will receive when you commit to doing your part. It's amazing the changes that happen when you do that.
And have you found, and I take your challenge and your invitation, so thank you, Michael. Have you found that some of the reasons that we hesitate to speak out, to show, to tell the truth, to say what we really feel, to say no, It's just the fear of that. And going back to the beginning of our conversation, the fear of not being appreciated or understood or accepted, or someone
Yep.
getting angry with us. It's just the fear. And a lot of times I've found, like, once I just do it, I just commit to doing it. I say the words, I put it out there. It feels a whole lot better and it's easier than I thought it was going to be. Have you noticed that as well?
Yes, our egos are designed to catastrophize. Our egos are designed to keep us safe by trying to predict the future. And so we're learning to be friends with our ego these days because we're recognizing that it's doing the job that it was designed by the universe to do. So when we recognize in our own consciousness that we're aware that our egos are thinking ahead, how is this person going to react to me? That is something that is a good thing. And when we recognize that it's preventing us, though, from speaking the truth or having a conversation that we need to do, we simply say, thank you, ego, for doing your job. And I'm choosing to step outside my comfort zone nonetheless, because, ready for it? Here we go. This is what your divine self's voice is speaking to you. What other people think of me is none of my business. What if that were true? How would that change your relationship to fear and what other people are going to think of you for revealing that you got fired like I did in 2005? And I kept that hidden for years. Only until about 6 or 7 years ago did I start telling the truth that, yeah, I was fired. Why was I fired? I was resisting my soul call to be a light worker. I was hanging on in academia, left-brained, soul-sucking, drained, exhausted. And, I got fired. The universe manifested that for me on my behalf. I was ashamed of it at first until I realized this is a good thing. This is a gift. And now I recognize that when I share that story, I liberate everyone else to share their own stories. And you and we do the same thing. We have the same power. And so when you make that commitment to yourself to step outside your comfort zone today, not tomorrow, today, I'm all about the now. And so are you. When you do that and commit to doing that, you're going to unleash so many amazing things. It's going to be extraordinary. The feeling of freedom, the feeling of liberation, and the magic that happens when you commit to sharing the truth of who you are. And you're going to liberate everyone around you, just as importantly, to do the same. And guess what? That helps you and it helps all of us.
I love that you're talking about being liberated from shame. It is one of the things that holds us back. And I'll just say that I actually got fired in 2017 for the same exact reason. I was resisting, starting my business, serving empaths. And the universe was like, okay, if you won't go, I'm going to push you out the door. And it literally, as I look back on it, was one of the best things that ever happened to me. But we have all this societal conditioning that we have to show up perfectly, and we have to be the great student, the great employee, whatever those things are. And I love that you're uncovering this for us, Michael. It's so important.
As you're speaking your truth, Bevan, I want to thank you, because Bevan's giving us all an example of what happens when Bevan is speaking the truth right now. I've got head to toe chills, head to toe goosebumps, and that is an indicator that we are in the truth. So I thank you for providing that, bringing in the truth of who you are into this moment on this call for all of us, because we're all benefiting from that.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for opening that space for me. Mm-hmm. I know there are many people who are just energized by this conversation and what you're bringing here. How can they continue to connect with you after the summit is complete?
We have an annual membership. It only happens a small time, couple of times twice a year, once in the fall now, and then once in the spring, an annual membership to the Empath Sanctuary community. Community is the new currency. And when you get into community, and it doesn't matter whether you join mine or somebody else's, it's irrelevant to me, or I'm just providing the invitation. We have an incredible community, and those in the community know how special and powerful it is, because our community attracts those who are ready. Like, it's time to take the next step. It's time to step outside my comfort zone. It's time to receive more goodness, love, energy, passion, purpose, and power than I ever have before. So you're welcome to go to Empath Connection, empathconnection.com, and check out that program among the 5 or 6 other programs that I've got going, including a retreat in Sedona coming up in May, which I invite you to because it's so special and powerful when we get on the earth together as empaths. Not the Zoom is powerful, right? And something magical happens when we do it in person. So I invite you to that and any of my other programs. Happy to work with you.
Thank you so much. It's such a great invitation. If there was just one final piece of advice or thought, or even an invitation that you'd like to leave all of our listeners with today, what would that be, Michael?
You are more powerful than you know. And just like Bevan said, encourage you to take that step outside your comfort zone, challenge yourself a little bit, because when you do, it's not going to be as catastrophic as your ego might think. It's not going to be a disaster. In almost all cases, it's going to unleash those around you, including the person that you're being honest with, to share some version of the truth with you and with all of us. And that is how we heal the world together.